Okay, and here we are. We are live now.
Hey.
Yay. Welcome everybody. We're a little behind time here. I'm just going to go into um, welcome to Laurie Alsobrook to our Dulcimoon Talk number 8. Number 8. We've been doing this since June, Laurie.
Great.
It's really exciting.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
And
it's a very good thing.
people tuning in, it's really good.
Yes, it is good. And I love the fact that we're able to, it records and people can watch it later too. So I invited Laurie today because she's one of the women leaders in the Dulcimer community in the United States, and both in-person events and online events. She's been instrumental in helping to get the Stephen Foster Dulcimer Retreat online the last couple of years, and now I understand you're turning over the what is it? Something to Bing Futch, right?
Well, sharing. How's
Got it.
that?
Got it. Perfect.
That's
Sure.
definitely
Okay.
what's happening.
And plus, you're one of the main song leaders for Send In the Music, the weekly online event for folks that, gosh, you guys started right up after the pandemic started, right?
Hasn't that been a blessing? That's really something that at a point where we couldn't get together, and Pat Clark had this brilliant idea of taking it online. And it started out really small and just whatever you feel like playing. And there were just maybe 4 song leaders. And then it has evolved into you know, she has a Dropbox with all of the songs in it. Then people say in advance what they're going to do. It's been an evolution, but it's been something that I really think held us all together. And even now, when people are out and about, we still have up to 80 people at a session on Saturday. There's a need for this, and I'm delighted to be part of it.
Right. And this is the need that all of us who've been doing online events have noticed. The people who are shut-ins, who can't afford to travel, who maybe are caretakers in their home, and folks who just generally have not been part of the Dulcimer Festival scene at all. You may know that the Quarantine Dulcimer Festival about a year ago in February did a survey of their 2,000 participants, and fully 60% had never been to an in-person festival.
Well, I've taught classes quarantine where I have somebody in Australia and someone in New Zealand this last time, and Germany and Ireland and everywhere across the United States and Canada. And it just really does. That's another thing that has brought the community together, taking these classes and making friends with people that I'll never have a chance to meet in person, but like you and I are talking, we met online just as well. So,
We did, although we got to hang out a little at Dulcimer U just before everything shut down.
that's right. 2000, that's right.
And I was talking with another friend of mine who's very into an online life. She's a self-avowed geek, and she's very active in Second Life, which was one of the first online communities that was formed. And she says, it's just kind of interesting how we all get to find each other, and, we're kind of misfits. And I said, well, Dulcimer players have hung into this again too. And I think it's because we're used to being on the fringe of the music community.
Oh, especially if you go to a jam with all the instruments, they kind of look like, oh, there's a dulcimer.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that way, but I think that's hysterical. And you're right, that's fringe right there. But we are getting a foothold in that fringe for sure.
Well, the online world really helps us feel solid with each other, and I love that. So I love that you're part of it at that level. I mean, how many song leaders do you have now?
Well, it varies, but since the beginning, there's been 4 of us who have just been really steady contributors. Carolyn Brzezinski, I think she's on today. Hey, Carolyn, shout out. And Carol Crocker. And we have been like steadily on since March of 2020. And those other two ladies that I just spoke about, when they can't be there, they send videos. So they're participating all the time. And our Send in the Music crowd is truly a family. And I couldn't even tell you how many song leaders we have, but every Pat strives to have 20 songs because she figures that will fill our 2 hours with our special guest added. And and the song leaders are in and out depending on if they're available. And Pat is welcoming to people. We have people who are almost beginner players who have really advanced their ability to play throughout this. One, if I could mention, Cindy Farley, who's part of our staff of our tech staff. Well, her very first songs were just kind of like one note at a time, easy strum. Well, she's doing wonderful things. I think she's one of Erin's proteges. And so we've watched her advance from when we first started till now. And I need to say she's one of our regular song leaders as well. But Carol and I have been there since like day one, foot in the door.
So that's 4 solid supporters, all women.
All women.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's often the women who step up to do these things.
Well, we also have a sense of collegiality, I think. Mm-hmm. Even, in your workplace, anywhere, you just kind of, we have a common bond that we're nurturing, and we have that common bond.
That's right. That's right. So how did you get to Dulcimer, Laurie?
Oh, it's a great story. Our 2 children were at summer camp. I'll mention the name of their camp because it's hilarious. The camp is called Camp Weed. And it's in North Florida, and it's named for the first Episcopal bishop of the Diocese of Florida, Edmund Weed. My son would wear his Camp Weed shirt to high school, and people would pay $25 for that shirt. So anyway, so both Marion and Graham were at Camp Weed at the same session, and Larry and I took off, and we did house concerts. And we went to a place in Wetumpka, Alabama, and we were just kind of heading a little circuit. And in his plan, he found that there was going to be a faculty concert at Western Carolina University of all of the instructors for Mountain Dulcimer Week. Now, this would have been in the year 2000. And so we went to this event. I didn't play dulcimer. We just sat there and listened to all these marvelous performers. And at the intermission, I remember when the fellow who was the MC said, "Now everybody's here for Mountain Dulcimer Week, stand up." And the entire auditorium, I mean, there might have been 200, 250 people. They all stood up. And I turned to Larry and said, "I'm doing this next year." So there it is. I started going to Mountain Dulcimer Week, a summer camp, a week-long music summer camp, and just have not stopped. I took a few years off, but have been going, went from maybe 2001 to 2009, and then took a couple years off and then started back up again. Dulcimer U now is with Elaine and Larry Conger, and it has a bit of a different focus than the first one. This is more of an educational one, and the other is more like, oh, we're folk musicians all getting together. And so I continued to do that. I did I took part in several of their week-long intensives, and one was on teaching the mountain dulcimer. Now, I've been a teacher. I have been not a mountain dulcimer teacher, but I have 42 years of public school education under my belt. And so when I retired in 2017, it was kind of like I had started teaching the mountain dulcimer at a few festivals, Stephen Foster, namely one, and kind of inching my way into Dulcimer U. And then after I retired, it just really opened up this whole new world for me. And I love teaching. Teaching has been in my life, as an educator, and now bonding that enjoyment of playing the mountain dulcimer and just trying to share that with everyone else. Little known secret, my 33 years of my teaching career, I was a physical education teacher.
Wow.
So we're talking elementary school physical education. So it's presenting something to make it like it is the most fun thing you could ever do in your whole life, which is how I present the Mountain Dulcimer. So you can imagine telling children, we're going to do the 5-minute run. And, and then instead of them running away, they'd go, yeah, I'm going to beat what I did last week. And so it was all about presentation and making it so that it would be enjoyable for them. And that's really how I view the Mountain Dulcimer. I love it. I enjoy playing it. And I just want other people to enjoy it, to experience it. We in Melrose call ourselves Dulcivangelists.
I use the phrase Dulcimer missionary.
That's true too, very much.
Yeah, yeah.
So, which is why one of my pets, it literally is called the petting zoo, and that's where I take dulcimers that I've collected, and I've written Sharpie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way up, and take it to all the way up the fretboard, and take it to Florida Folk Festival, Barberville Festival, all these. Will McLean Fest, all these different festivals. Plus in the town of Melrose, we have a group that gathers. And it's just, how can people learn how much fun this is? How can people play this in an instant? In a blink of an eye, you're playing a song. Right. And so that's the petting zoo. And I use my husband's fishing cart and stuff all the dulcimers in it and drag it around at festivals. So it makes a lot of noise rattling. So people, I Pied Piper people to where I'm going.
Well, just, the way you talk about it, your love of it is infectious.
Oh, thanks.
And so I think that this is a great retirement for you.
It's not, I know I don't think it's retirement. Actually, it's actually beefed up. It's retirement jacked up a notch. I was super busy before. I ran a youth sports program and, all of that. And so, and I used to think, oh, if only I had time to just do something else. Well, I certainly found something else to do with this time. I really am enjoying it. Something that came out of that Saturday session with Send in the Music, just within weeks of it starting, I started a weekly jam. Our group, obviously, like other groups, couldn't get together. And so I thought, well, this online thing, this works. And so every Friday since March of 2020, I do a little thing every Friday afternoon at 4:00 Eastern time. Anybody there want to sign on, just drop me a message and I'll tell you how to do it. But it's like you just pointed out, we have people in that group that just want to sit and listen. I tell them right up front, you can lead a song, you can request a song, or you can do the international, pass it over to the next person. So right. It's just all about sharing the joy of playing a mountain dulcimer.
Right, definitely. So how did it go when you decided to transfer the Stephen Foster Retreat over to online for a couple of years?
My partner in that was David Beatty. And I had been a behind the scenes person at Stephen Foster. He would bounce ideas off me. I would make recommendations for instructors. Being one who's out and about in the dulcimer world more, I would say, get this person. And so we had a partnership then. We found out when we do this festival, it's at the I have to get the whole title in, Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center State Park. Okay, 7 words to say that. And they closed during COVID, and they closed for a second year too. And so David and I wanted to keep it going because, as we all know, it's a good thing that we want to keep this happening. So So I was behind the scenes helping him as we bounce ideas off each other. And it just kind of turned into what we did that worked out online. We were able to, I think yours was the first one, and then there was a quarantine, and there weren't quite so many back in in November of 2020. But you just kind of, I went to all of them.
I know. You were like the official photographer.
I got my T-shirt too. So, I started going to all of them, and what do I like? What do I think would work better? What didn't work? What's great? And just kind of started taking ideas and then putting it together for what we did. And like our partnership had been before, we both worked on the schedule, but I have the tech sense of I do the website. I still do the website for it. I do the Facebook page. So I was the advertiser and kind of the wherewithal of how to make it work. The one thing we did that I thought was very cool was this was at the end of the 21. We did a grand finale where we had maybe 5 people. We did Pack Up Your Sorrows, that song, and people had a verse. And we did it all together, but we don't have any way of doing it. There was just like a slight, when you were done playing, the next person would start strumming a little bit and then start coming on. And so we were just sharing the screen. So that was kind of like, oh, we thought that was really high tech there. But, and we opted to go with PayPal as our way of collecting, and it just worked out. It just worked out well that it could come in and it could go out. And so we worked, David and I worked on it behind the scenes on various different levels.
Yeah. Did you find that you got a lot more attendance?
We usually, at Stephen Foster, they almost have a cap with how many people can fit into the auditorium. And then, funny thing, one of the park directors there married the fire marshal for the area, and he's definitely on top of how many people can be in that building. So we're aware of that. So that's a kind of a cap of the auditorium. But it was right at about 100. And when we went online, we were 145, 150.
That's great.
First year, and up to 160 the second year. That was a fun thing, connecting with those people. And I was hoping the park would be closed this year too. Opened. Oh no, I shouldn't say that. They opened and we're ready for our next festival coming up. And Bing and I have been working together on that, and it's going to be fun. A little bit more relaxed than in the past. He kind of wants let's take it easy. Let's have longer classes, longer set times in the concerts. I think he's been hustle bustling this fall, and I think he's like, let's just go and have a retreat, in actual true name of the word retreat, on the Swanee River in North Florida. Beautiful location, just a more relaxed setting, a more relaxed festival, a retreat.
That sounds like a great time. He works hard. You work hard. Yeah. And you're going to have Jessica Camo in that, right?
Yeah, and actually, we have only 5 instructors, but of the 5, 4 of us are from Florida. Right. Jessica from Pensacola, so she's about perhaps 2 hours west of where the location is, and Bing's further south. And then one of our hammer dulcimer instructors, Sally, she's from down in the Tampa area, and then I'm from near Gainesville. So we're all Florida people. And then we have a ringer. We have Tina Bergman. Now there's somebody who's been really busy too. I see her name popping up festivals here and there, and she's really well respected. And if I could just add this little story. Yesterday we had a Melrose Jam. We meet once a month at a local center. And so we had and then we meet every week online. But we met yesterday, and a fellow said, I see Tina Bergman's going to be there. I used to live in Ohio, and I took lessons from her for X number of years. And he said, see this dulcimer I'm playing? Tina's father built this dulcimer.
Oh my.
So that's a really neat tie-in of, okay, we're all Florida, but isn't it a smaller world?
It is. It is. I'm so grateful that she's going to be our hammer dulcimer featured teacher
Awesome.
for Dulcimoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're talking about the longer classes and stuff. That's part of what I did with Berkeley Dulcimer Gathering is not an hour, 75 minutes, and then the 2 hour workshops on Sunday. And these days, because the events, the online events, tend to be pick a class, pay $10 a class, not pay for the whole day. I really like the idea of having some community time, and that's hard on Zoom. But Erin Mae is our homeroom teacher. She's
Wow.
our homeroom hostess, and people can go to her just for tech support, but they also, she is our hostess during lunchtime, and we have a community playing circle, which is like the jams that you're discussing, where people are, they can play something, they can request something, or they can pass. And I think that community time is what we've particularly missed during the pandemic, right?
And you're right about that. If somebody pays $10 for this and this and this, that's all they tap in for. And otherwise, the way you're set up, that you're part of a community for the weekend. Yeah, at Stephen Foster, we even had a open mic, but it was kind of like a planned open mic. I contacted a few people who were participants and said, "Would you play something?" And so it was just
Well, that's good.
more community, more things that people could do.
Musette says hello.
Hello, since we started, I hear it.
Yeah, she's been here. So, can you tell me anything about women musicians or teachers that have inspired you along the way?
I would really like to. You know, as I said, I did get my start at Mountain Dulcimer Week up at Western Carolina University way back, and my very first instructor was Ann Lowe.
Oh my.
A more kinder and gentler first time person you could not have had. And I came back again. Obviously, I loved it so much. I came back and I had Janita Baker the next year. So I just hit it out of the park with two extraordinary instructors right there. But about my third year at this festival, at this week-long festival, one of the instructors was Maddie McNeil, and I was taking a class for the week called Singing with the Mountain Dulcimer. And also at that festival was Jean Ritchie. Yeah, gasp. That's right. But here's something that happened. Maddie, knowing that I loved singing rounds, she said, "Why don't we do a round jam?" So we went to one of the rooms at night and we were just sharing up rounds, and in walks Jean Ritchie, just walking in the door like this, looking around saying, "I had to find where this choir of angels was. You drew me out of my room." And then she sat down at the table with us, Jean Ritchie sitting at the table with us saying, "Well, now I was in West Virginia last week and I learned this one." And she taught it to us. And then she'd go, "Now in the summer I was over in Missouri and here's one I learned there." And she was just sharing up one round after another. And that just is a real Dulcimer highlight for me. That really was, as if not to be singing with Maddie McNeil, to be then in the presence of Jean Ritchie doing these wonderful, just charming rounds.
That's a golden moment for sure. Yeah.
It is, without a doubt. And when David and I, and now Bing and I, of the 5 instructors, 4 of us are women. David and I always tried to look to make us as diverse as possible in as many ways as we could make our Dulcimer community diverse, Dulcimer community of instructors. And it's that same feeling that you had said before, that we're in it for each other. You know, and so it was wonderful to have. It's wonderful to have all the women here at Stephen Foster Retreat, and we'll accept. Bing can be honorary. He's got the long hair. We'll let it count. We'll let it count for something. You know, I wanted to go back to sharing my joy of sharing with beginners and with people who've never seen a dulcimer, and people who walk up when I'm doing a petting zoo at a festival and come up and say, what is this thing in your lap? And then, put it in their lap and here's how you play it. A friend of mine here in Gainesville, Jean Cunningham, and I came up with this idea of playing, and we do this every session at Send in the Music. It's about the first 5 minutes, where it's from a collection of fiddle tunes, or a collection of commonly played jam tunes, and the collection's called, wait, I have to show it. No Frills. There it is. Hardest part of today was figuring out what shirt to wear. So this one. I'm a walking billboard for Dulcimer festivals, and I just got my QDF one yesterday. I was close to wearing it, but I said, nope, this one. So anyway, when Jean and I get together at Send in the Music, she plays a song straight up. My No Frills collection is stripped down, not even an eighth note in sight, and the whole purpose of that is for somebody to learn the basics of the tune and then now go fly with it. Now that you have it, if you just have to remember these notes, you'll memorize this piece, and then you'll be in a jam and you'll be able to do other things with it. And so Jean plays it in its stripped down version, and I sit next to her and I chop chords and play harmonies and talk about other things you can do with it. And so that's that putting out to the people in the Dulcimer community online, here's something you can do. And so we started that in January. We've gone all the way through. Even last time I was saying, hey, this is a tune in G. You go someplace else and they'll play this in G. So let's learn it in G. And I'm not going to give you any tab. You have to figure it out yourself. So throw people under the bus. That's what I do.
Well, let me check in with Erin Mae and see if we've got any questions from our viewers this morning.
Hey, Erin.
Hey.
Hi. Oh, the chat is full of lovely people who are singing your praises and who are naming again how important these online events are for our community. Just a myriad of reasons why in person doesn't work for everyone, and online has been such a gift.
Right.
More people have commented on the Facebook page for Stephen Foster, I wish I was closer. That's a very commonly said theme. I wish I was closer.
Yeah. Yeah, we Dulcimer players tend to be spread out rather far from each other.
How often have you heard somebody say, I live in a Dulcimer wasteland? Have you heard that? I've heard that from several people. Yeah, there's not enough.
I grew up in a Dulcimer wasteland, so...
So you know what you had to do then? You had to create your own community, and you did that, Erin. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're just sitting here, and DJ's in California, and Laurie's in Florida, and I'm in Kansas. We've covered the whole country.
One of the things that I wanted to let you know, Laurie, and actually everybody who's listening, is Jean Ritchie comes up over and over and over again. And it's one of the subjects that people wanted covered for the Dulcimoon Festival. And we're this week, Erin Mae and Judy House and I are working through the workshop descriptions that that our teachers have sent us, and we're coming up with the program. And I really wanted to include something with Jean Ritchie, and of course Aubrey Atwater came up.
Oh yeah.
So what we're doing is we're presenting basically a Jean Ritchie Christmas card online on Zoom, with Aubrey presenting, talking, performing in December. And this is Dulcimoon's gift to the community.
That's so much in-person experience. She's ideal for that.
Yeah. I wanted to have it in the festival, but she wasn't available that weekend. She's already booked. So I thought about it and went, we need to do this. So that's going to happen December 10th. So I'll put out all the stuff about that soon. And it'll be on Zoom, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I really appreciate so many people joining the Dulcimoon group and helping us with our fundraisers so that we can take care of all of our online, the graphics and the website setup and all of that. Pay a professional to take care of that. And it's just it's really exciting how everyone's come together. So this is our gift to everyone who's already shown so much for support for something that hasn't even happened yet.
Well, that shows success right there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Was there anything else in the comments, Erin?
Well, several people are jealous that you got to be in a room with Maddie McNeil and Jean Ritchie singing rounds. I joined the fire on that.
A golden experience, as you said. That'll stay with me forever.
The idea of the instrument petting zoos is really intriguing to a lot of people. I think that's one of the things that people in any area without a lot of dulcimer connections can go to a library and set up an instrument petting zoo and just share that with their community, or, a trunk or treat. It's time for trunk or treats. Wouldn't it be fun if there were just like trunks full of dulcimers at trunk or treats across the country?
Oh my God. Well, or a fishing cart, as I have.
Cart, exactly.
We were talking about Send in the Music earlier. At this recent Send in the Music, I was the mystery guest. And it was actually the petting zoo that was a mystery guest. And I showed people the very small video, which they can go to Send in the Music videos and find that. And but then the rest of the session was talking about, how do I run a petting zoo? Here are some ideas. And also in the Dropbox are materials that I present that are just learning it by ear, figuring it out. So y'all out there can go check that out. It's
let's make sure that those links are in the comment thread on the Facebook page. Okay. That would be good. Between you and Erin and I, we will make sure those get in there. That would be good. But we're running out of time. So can you believe it? How fast does this go?
Oh, so fun talking with you girls.
Absolutely. When we first started doing these, I kind of was doing it to get some visibility for Dulcimoon and also to get people to donate. And, you can still donate. Just go to dulcimoon.com and click on the donate button. But this is mostly because everyone has been so responsive, and it's clear to both Erin and I that we love providing this little extra window into the women of the dulcimer community. So we're going to keep doing it one way or another because it's good. It's good. Little hearts. I'm bad at that. How do you do that? There we go. Make that point.
This is one of my other favorites, that the sign language for friends.
Aww.
There's a hug.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, I learned that. So a lot of my Zooms end with this one now too.
Oh, that's sweet. That's accessibility in action. Okay.
Inviting me.
You're more than welcome, Laurie. I've got Pat on my list as well, and other folks. So we'll. I think next month I'm finally pinning down Karen Alley, who is our Canadian glaciologist and hammer dulcimer teacher. So that'll be an interesting one. That'll be interesting. Okay, folks, thank you so much for your time, Laurie. Thanks for your help this morning, Erin Mae, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.